Hey, everybody, welcome. As you know, we are in the midst of Passion Week, or as some people call it, Holy Week. It's that time that is Palm Sunday to Easter. And what we're going to do is each and every day on our Facebook page, I am posting a teaching on what happened on this given day in history, way back over 2,000 years ago during the original Holy Week or Passion Week. And so today's Monday, and we're going to kind of pick up where we left off. If you missed it yesterday on Palm Sunday, I did a teaching on that. You can go back and check that out. But now we're to Monday, and on the Monday after the triumphant entry and after Palm Sunday took place, there were two major events that were recorded in the chronology of this week. And those events are the clearing of the temple and the cursing of the fig tree. Well, the cursing of the fig tree is what actually happened first. It's recorded in the book of Matthew, chapter 21, verses 18 through 22. I'm going to read it to you. It says this: In the early morning, as Jesus was on his way back to the city, he was hungry. Seeing a fig tree by the road, he went up to it, but found nothing on it except leaves. Then he said to it, "May you never bear fruit again." Immediately the tree withered. When the disciples saw this, they were amazed. "How did the fig tree wither so quickly?" they asked. And Jesus replied to them, "Truly I tell you, if you have faith and do not doubt, not only can you do what was done to the fig tree, but also you can say to this mountain, 'Go, throw yourselves into the sea,' and it'll be done. If you believe, you will receive whatever you ask for in prayer." Well, the cursing of the fig tree was Jesus' way of saying that the whole nation had basically become spiritually barren before God. I mean, the people, they acted religious. I mean, they knew the right words to say, but the people's hearts, they were far, far from God. Now, it was common knowledge in Jesus' time that if you saw a fig tree that had leaves on it, you could also expect fruit. That is, unless the tree was barren. Now, you might be asking, how did Jesus know that the fig tree actually was barren? Well, the reason that he could tell was because the leaves and the fruit, generally speaking, will typically appear at about the same time. So for him to see a fig tree covered with leaves, but not having any fruit, it meant that it was obviously barren. Well, let's continue on and let's see what happened later on in the day. And it's called the clearing of the temple. It's recorded in the book of Matthew, chapter 21. It's verses 12 through 17. It goes like this: Jesus entered the temple and began to drive out all the people, buying and selling animals for sacrifice. He knocked over the tables of the money changers and the chairs of those selling doves. He said to them, "The scriptures declare, my temple will be called a house of prayer, but you have turned it into a den of thieves." The blind and the lame came to him in the temple, and he healed them. The leading priests and the teachers of religious law saw these wonderful miracles and heard even the children in the temple were shouting, "Praise God for the Son of David." But the leaders were indignant. They asked Jesus, "Do you hear what these children are saying?" "Yes," Jesus replied. "Haven't you ever read the scriptures? For they say, 'You have taught children and infants to give you praise.'" Then he returned to Bethany, where he stayed overnight. Well, in this story, the money lenders basically had turned the Lord's house into a den of thieves, as Jesus said. These guys were con men, honestly. They were con men who exchanged foreign currency, and then they also sold animals, the animals that the tourists would use for sacrifice. So the tourists would come to them, they'd exchange their currency, and then they'd buy these animals for sacrifice from these con men, I guess you could call them, or salesmen. And because of their shrewd marketing practices, they could charge crazy amounts of money and make a huge profit off of their customers. They kind of had a captive audience, I guess you could say. Well, the whole scene just infuriated Jesus. And it made him so mad because he knew that the temple should be a house of prayer for everyone. And we must remember that Jesus has no use for religion that is just outward looking, but is incapable of bearing good fruit. You know, it's better to be without religion than to be a pretend believer who just kind of goes through the motions, doing what they think Jesus wants to hear. You know, the pretend Christian always seems to say the right words, but there's no reality to back it up. There's no fruit to be seen, no good fruit that's been bared by these people. You know, we need to remember Jesus is not looking for a show. He's not interested in that. What he wants is he wants your heart to be his. Well, guys, that's pretty much the major events, the two major events that took place on this day in history, way back during the first Holy Week. And tomorrow, we're going to come back again. Make sure you check it out. And we'll see what happened on Tuesday of Holy Week. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.